Now I want to get to a story that caught my attention this past weekend, and that's the clash between Olympian Simone Biles and Riley Gaines over the inclusion of transgender athletes in women's sports. Gaines is a former NCAA swimmer turned conservative pundit who joined a lawsuit against the NCAA in March of 2024. The suit, from more than a dozen athletes, accused the NCAA of violating their Title IX rights by allowing transgender swimmer Leah Thomas to compete at the national championships in 2022. Gaines and Thomas tied for fifth, but only Thomas was awarded the fifth place trophy for the 200-yard freestyle. Fast forward to last week, where Gaines spoke out against another transgender athlete. Gaines targeted a Minnesota State high school league for not allowing comments on their post about the Chaplin Park girls team celebrating the state championships. Chaplin Park's team includes a trans athlete. That prompted Simone Biles to post this about Gaines, quote, "You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans people feel safe in sports. Instead, you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around," end quote. Gaines responded to Biles in follow-up posts, saying the seven-time gold medalist's stance on transgender athletes was disappointing and labeled her a, quote, "male apologist at the expense of young girls' dreams," end quote. Then she went here, bringing in Larry Nassar, a former national team doctor who sexually abused multiple U.S. gymnasts, including Biles, under the guise of medical treatment. She wrote, quote, "All the horrific sexual abuse Simone Biles witnessed and spoke out against, caused by one man, yet believes women should be forced to strip naked in front of men to validate the man's feelings. You know how many gold medals you'd have if your inclusive dream came true? Zero," end quote. Respectfully, Gaines, I was with you until that last quote. Respectfully, that's going a bit too far. Talking about transgender women competing in sports is one issue. Using a guy like Larry Nassar, one of the most despicable human beings we've ever witnessed on this earth, who molested and abused numerous women, numerous gymnasts, including Biles, and to go that low, Gaines, you lost all credibility. You could have made your argument without going that far. No matter what Simone Biles said to you, how she may disagree with you on your position did not warrant you to go that far. Certainly, you're not suggesting that it was okay for her to be molested. Certainly, you're not suggesting it was okay for her to be abused. So why would you say something like that? That if you are a male transitioning to female, that there's an unfair advantage. I don't see women transitioning into men trying to compete in men's sports. If it's happened and I've missed it, I've apologized, but I've missed it. I haven't seen that. Sage Steele, my former colleague at ESPN, a conservative pundit, she had her own thoughts on this matter. And let's read what she had to say here. "Easy to say this, Simone Biles, when you only had to compete against fellow women. Every one of your Olympic medals came competing against fellow women. Riley Gaines was not only forced to compete against a man, but forced to share a locker room with a man. That is sick. Shocked and disappointed that you'd attack another woman who has done nothing but uplift other women. If you think it makes sense to create a league for trans people, go for it. Use that huge platform of yours. But to attack Riley for what she has done for little girls who want to be the next Simone Biles is sick."
How stupid you really are. This is not a moment of a lapse of judgment. This is pure stupidity. What woman is sitting at home thinking, you know, sports are not inclusive enough? Because we got men who are delusional about what gender they are, and they going and beating the brakes off of women and cheering it, and somehow it's confusing. It's not confusing. But Simone Biles made an apology to Riley Gaines. Matter of fact, her ChatGPT account made an apology to Riley Gaines, because I don't think she wrote this. And even if she did write it, she doubled down on stupidity. I wanted to follow up on my last tweets. I've always believed in competitive equity and inclusion or I always believe competitive equity and inclusion are both essential in sports. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges. And it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for. These are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to, but I believe it starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports. Okay, my objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in ways that feel personal and harmful. Individual athletes, especially kids, should never be the focus of criticism of a flawed system they have no control over. I believe sports organizations have a responsibility to come up with rules supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition. We all want a future for sport that is fair, inclusive, and respectful.
So what's your reaction to this? Biles is calling you a, quote, sore loser, trying to compare you to a man. Do you think Simone Biles would accept losing a gold medal to a biological male gymnast?
No, of course I don't. And I say that pretty confidently, given the timing of which she has come out in support of men and women's sports. She is done competing. Why didn't she say this in 2020 or 2021 or 2022 or the last Olympics? It's because she now can say this confidently and emphatically because she knows she won't have to compete against a man or a boy. It's the same thing Megan Rapinoe did. It's actually the definition of pulling up the ladder behind you. Done competing. It's easy to say the thing you think to be virtuous or kind or inclusive, but really what Simone Biles is advocating for here is exclusion, and it's exclusion of women and girls from the women and girls category.
Yesterday, Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast, the best of the best, bar none. There is no one else even remotely in her league in women's gymnastics. I guess in an attempt to be inclusive and virtuous, decided to sell out all women and girls who have dreams to achieve and to succeed, and to specifically personally attack and body shame me. She tweeted this out of the blue, like this came out of nowhere, and she said, "Riley, me, you're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race." First of all, if she's insinuating I lost to a man, I've lost several races in my career. Duh, that's part of being an athlete. But if she's saying I lost to a man, that's factually incorrect. We tied. Besides the point. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Let me get something straight. It's my job. It's the women's job. This is what Simone Biles is saying. It's the women's job to find a way for the men's feelings to be validated, for their identity to be affirmed. That's not my job, actually, at all.
Crazy.
So to say I should be doing this is insane. If she wants to use her platform to uplift men and women's sports, then by all means. But it's certainly not my job, and I don't believe it's the job of any woman to do this. She goes on to say, but instead you bully them. One thing's for sure, no one in sports is safe with you around. I can't even make sense of that last part, actually.
That's crazy.
Then out of the blue, she tweeted this. Bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, really for two reasons. Number one, she's acknowledging there are differences, like physiological, biological differences between men and women in saying this. Secondly, I'm 5'5", but I'm pretty standard size for a woman. I guess like relatively muscular, right? Being an athlete, I would imagine Simone would understand that, but I weigh like 135 pounds, 5'5", of pretty much pure muscle. And again, if anyone would understand that, you would think it's Simone Biles, a woman who has historically been scrutinized for having a very muscular, masculine looking body. She was scrutinized to the point she did this whole body positivity campaign. Then she has the nerve to say that I look like a man. And not to mention, this is a woman who has been incredibly brave in calling out and witnessing the horrific sexual abuse that she and hundreds of other female gymnasts faced at the hands of one sexual predator, that predator being Larry Nassar. In the same breath, believing that vulnerable women should be forced to strip down naked in front of men in locker rooms so long as it makes the man feel happy. If Larry Nassar came out as trans, would Simone think it's responsible or safe for him to be housed in a women's prison? To be very, very clear, I could care less what Simone Biles says about me.
I never cease to be amazed at the bad timing
of criticism. I'm never amazed at the bad timing of criticism when you live in a bubble. And apparently, Simone Biles is living in kind of a liberal bubble where trans is okay and men defeating women and, you know, shattering dreams is okay. And you know what's really disgusting here? This is from Simone Biles, who's this wonderful African-American athlete that showed yet again that doesn't matter what color you're in the United States, if you have the ability, you can win gold medals and get the support of our Olympics committee and everything that goes with it. And so you've lived out dreams, Simone. You've been enabled on dreams, and you're taking a position and getting into it with Riley Gaines, who was denied dreams. And there was other women that were in that race that were denied their dreams, NCAA championships, because a guy was in the race. So you, who are a beacon and a great ambassador for the diversity of sport, and you've won Olympic medals, and to demonstrate, doesn't matter what color you are in America, women, you can do it. You can do it. You are the one out there saying to Riley Gaines, well, you lost out on your game. You should be applauding the fact. You should. How many people need to come out and say, this is just silly? How many athletes, how many commentators, retired athletes, everybody comes out and says, you know what? It's one thing to say, oh, trans need comfort and they need this and acceptance, and I'm not going to go there. It's quite another thing to say, oh, well, you should protect them over here while they're denying women their dreams.